Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
TSS. We have a beautiful summer day outside, but we are all here today to hear the words of Jesus and what God inspired us to be each and every day better than yesterday. So today we're going to have Rafael to do our lecture. He's going to be talking faith move mountains, and it's right. Um, when we are in days that's not very good, it's the faith that hold us and take us to the next phase of our growing life, spiritual life. So today we so happy to have Juliana here. She's going to be doing our reading, and after her it's Rafael. Thank you, Juliana. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So I'm going to be doing a reading from Happy Life, about the circle. Your happiness is possible. Believe in this and work with passion to achieve it. Do not invest yourself in things, places, or people, and avoid disappointment. Happiness is an inner state, which arises from the well-being afforded by a dignified and peaceful life. Even if you lack money, high social position, or health, you can be happy, living with resignation and confidence in God. So let's close our eyes. And at this moment, let's be thankful. Let's be grateful for the opportunity to be here today, to join our friends, and to learn more on how faith, love can help us throughout our journey and empower us to always believe in our Master and conduct according to what is the right place. Thank you so much, and be with us.
So good.
You guys, good morning.
Morning.
It's very good to be here on another Sunday. So the subject of our lecture today is faith moves mountains. So this is the exact title of chapter 19 of the Gospel according to Spiritist. So when I was thinking about sources to talk about faith, and I saw that the simplest and more direct source is the gospel. It's so clear how it explains, or how the Spirit explains to us what faith should be and how to achieve it. So the core of this lecture is completely based on chapter 19, more specifically the items 1 to 7. And when we open that chapter, it starts with the Gospel of Matthew, on the passage where Jesus talks about the grain of seed, the seed of mustard. If you can have the faith the size of a seed of mustard, or a mustard seed, you'll be able to move mountains. So what is the situation where Jesus was inserted? We can read the same thing in the book Boa Nova by the Spirit Humberto de Campos. And in that situation, the apostles, they were trying to heal the sick with their hands, just like Jesus was doing. And they could not. And then they went to Jesus and said, we saw you doing, but we can't do it. We tried, but we can't do it. That's when Jesus said, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you would be able to do it. So the way Jesus left his teachings, it's enclosed in a symbology that we call parables, because we were not able to understand at that time everything all the lessons that were included in there, but today we are. So when we think on a mustard seed, and you try to see a mustard seed, if you take one and you try to see it, well, with me, I don't know if I bring it close or far away because my sight is giving away. But I would say that it will have to be here, and you really have to concentrate. You have to concentrate and focus to see the seed. So you cannot have faith if you don't concentrate. You have to focus. And what are the mountains that he's talking about? This is not an actual mountain because who cares? So you can move a mountain from here to there. Well, what's that useful for you? The mountains are much harder than an actual mountain. The mountains that he's referring to, that we learn from the spirits in the chapter 19, are the resistances that we have. Our selfishness, our pride, our material interests. So it's the focus that we have in a transient life that we live in one incarnation. And a life that for some time now, for a few centuries, we were told, and some of us still believe, that is the only one. I will talk more about that throughout our lecture. And more interestingly, the spirits list as a mountain blind faith. So what is interesting is that they're saying, if you actually want to develop faith, you have to get rid of your belief. What are they saying is that just believing, or you say that I believe in this, or it is the way it is because I believe it, it's not enough. This is a faith that is very weak. It shakes. It doesn't have a good platform, a good base. And the first problem, the first storm that you see in your path is going to crumble. So what we learn from Spiritism is that it has to make sense. It has your faith, it has to have roots in your heart and your mind. Because those are the gifts that we got from God. We developed throughout evolution and through the time that we achieved humanity. We became human beings, but nonetheless, this is the divine process. So those are gifts from God. The fact that we can develop this intelligence, and the fact that we can connect to Him through love. So then we have, symbolically speaking, we have a heart and we have a mind, and we have to use both. If your faith is not rooted in both, it's not going to be there when you need it. And the spirits continue and saying that the first angle that they take in explaining what is faith, items 2 and 3, they say that you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in what you're doing. When the apostles, they were trying to heal, they didn't actually believe that they could do it. They were in doubt. When you believe in yourself and you have to perform an activity or you have to accomplish something, you see in your mind, you see the end. So something really simple. You are a person who works with landscaping, and then you are hired to do a job, whatever landscaping job it is, and then you tell the person who's hiring you, yeah, I can do it. How long? 4 days. And I'll do it. Because you see already in your mind, you see the end. So this can be in two ways. You already did it before. So you remember. So you know what you have experienced. You know what you have to do. So this is already a glimpse of the other items and how you develop faith. And in another way is intuition. You know you can do it. You believe that you can do it. But then you can say, okay, I want $1 million. And I believe I'm going to receive $1 million. But that is the key. It has to be, you have to first remove the mountains from your way. Material interests is also a mountain. It has to be, you have to believe in yourself. But if you just believe in yourself, you are overconfident, then you're just an arrogant person. Presumptions. So that's not faith. Faith is also connected to the natural law, to the trust in God. And what is the natural law? What is God? Everything that happens following the laws of the universe. So, okay, I want $1 million without doing anything. Wait a minute. You're forgetting the law of work and the law of progress. So you're not, if you get it without those two, it's because there's something else behind it. You're supposed to do something with that. If you use just for yourself, remember the mountain of selfishness. Oh, but I want, if you met a situation of a person that wants $1 million, and that person works hard all his life or her life, and the $1 million is actually to provide for the family, provide comfort for the family. And the only thing that this person can get is a 45K salary year. That's average, Canadian average. For 40 years. Then the person works really hard and passes away. And for some reason, the person who is at the gate is always St. Peter. I don't know why we came up with this, but it's always St. Peter. So that person goes to St. Peter. Hey, I have faith. I believe that I could get $1 million, but I never did. I just got 45K a year. And then St. Peter, my son, let's calculate. And then he pulls a calculator. 45,000 a year for 40 years is almost 2 million. So you got your million. You just didn't see it. So you supported your family for 40 years. So what else do you want? You just had a mountain in front of you. You didn't see it. And then you say, oh, but I wanted all that money at once in my bank account. Laws of God, divine laws. And St. Peter says, if we had done that, if we had given you and your family enough financial resources so that you could buy addictive substances like alcohol, cigarettes, or whatever, you would have lost your way, you and your family. So we could not have done that. That is against the law of charity, law of injustice. So this, you see, it's a faith. That's the development that Jesus is talking about. Is the faith that moves the mountains, that prevents you to see the truth. But in order to develop that, you need to be aware of the surrounds, the things that are around you. So you need to see God or the divinity or whatever you want to call it, natural law, in the small things, in the love that surrounds you. If you're always complaining and you don't stop to see the good things that are happening to you, you won't be able to develop faith. In the same chapter, the Spirits teach us that faith cannot be prescribed. When we study Kardec, and we see on the What is Spiritism, the book, and we see the way that he used to talk to everybody. From the text, what I imagine is that Kardec was in the reception all the time in the Parisian society. And he would receive everybody that would come. And whoever wants to question him, he was there. And he would talk to everybody. That's what you can see from that book. And one thing that he always did He always respected people's opinions. He asked for respect as well. So if you want to talk about Spiritism, all right, you have to study Spiritism. Otherwise, what are you talking about? So if you want to talk about it, you have to study it. Then we can have a conversation. Otherwise, I'm going to be talking about concepts that you don't know anything about. But he always respected. If your faith is good enough for you, no problem. However, what we do here is faith that has to make sense. If in any point there's a scientific discovery, and when I say scientific, it's something that's proven by facts. It's a theory, in the right sense of the word, not a hypothesis. Theory is a proven hypothesis by experiment. So if something is proven, and that something changes or it shows that something that we are saying is not correct, then it should be abandoned. That's Kardec's words. It should be abandoned. Well, guess what? 170 years later, that never happened. We went through quantum mechanics, quantum electrodynamics, we went through special relativity, general relativity, and all they do is to prove that we are more and more right. The teachings of the Spirit. But if in any situation it is proven that we are not, we should abandon that concept. That's how confident Kardec was, or that's his. It shows his lack of bias, and that's what true faith is. Is that you pursue a knowledge. It's not something that you just say that you believe in it. You pursue it. You study it. You acquire that faith. Faith cannot be prescribed. It has to be acquired. What about people who say that, hey, I want to have faith, but I don't. I just don't believe it. And on the other side, when we read books that says that we have invisible cities orbiting Earth that we call colonies, and we believe it, what's the difference? Acquired faith. In question 397 from the Spirit's book, they say that the more that we work in our spiritual development, the more we remember. The more we remember from past lives or the life in the spiritual world. So if you take every person from every faith, we all are going to the spiritual world. And it's not different dimensions, it's the same one. We're all going to see ourselves in the other side and see that I'm still here, I still exist. Whether you have a faith or not, we're still going to meet on the other side. What happens then when we come back? We forget. We forget because we are not ready to maintain our brains. They are very delicate devices. You cannot put too much information on them. You cannot put too much information on our brains. That's why when we meditate, what is the first thing we do? We close our eyes. We turn off the lights. Why is it that during Pass we turn off the lights? Is it because it's magic there's going to happen? No. That's just because we are trying to reduce the amount of information that is coming to our brain so that we can relax. That's it. Why do we sit in a comfortable position? Because we don't want any information coming from our limbs that of numbness, pain, or so we want just to concentrate on an idea that is already difficult enough because our brain is always turning. Our thoughts are a mess. That's why we cannot focus our faith in a mustard seed. Try to sit down and think in one thing. You can. In a few seconds, you are thinking of the problem, bills to pay, or your work, or whatever. That's the mustard seed focus. So that's why when we reincarnate, we can't remember. because it's too much information. And those who come with too much memory, they have a difficulty in understanding what reality they are. I'm in my past life, or am I in this life? So who am I? And then they say, oh, I'm that person. No, that person died a long time ago. It's the same one. It's just that the guy doesn't know where he is, or she. So our brains, they are delicate modem devices that connect to the spirit. But as we evolve intellectually and morally, we strengthen these connections, and then we can start remembering more. Sometimes, or most of the times, if we remember too much, we will be crushed by the size of our guilt. It's just too much. We cannot remember what we did in the past. We wouldn't forgive ourselves. So memory, more often than not, is directly related to the capacity that you have to forgive yourself and others. The more you can forgive, the more love you feel in yourself, the more you can remember. But since we can't remember, then we go back and we continue thinking that we live only once. And this, it's a blind faith that is so spread around that people don't even realize that that is also blind faith. What is the evidence that we live only once? Oh, I don't see a corpse coming back. Does that mean that that person is, that the corpse is the person? Where is the person? If you look at the evidence, you see the opposite. But so few people look at that. I don't know if you guys heard about the ultraviolet catastrophe. So in the 19th century, they had this, so after Maxwell, they had this whole model to predict the energy of electromagnetic radiation. So close to the end of 19th century. After Kardec, that's why Kardec doesn't use the word electromagnetism, only electricity or magnetism, as it was before. But so then they had that theory, and it worked really well, but with one frequency, ultraviolet. In ultraviolet, the energy will be infinite. The calculation will give, okay, the energy of this ray is infinite. Of course not. I'm receiving it right now. I'm not that. But they disregarded it. Okay, never mind that little dot in the curve. Everything else is okay. That little dot, the only person that when Max Planck was able to explain that little dot, it exploded in quantum mechanics. So they discover a whole new physics that we are still studying at this point. Just that little dot. So it's the same thing with us. We say that we live only once. Okay, but how many people would see the evidence otherwise? We just disregard it. Even scientists, science is supposed to be unbiased. It's supposed you have to observe. They don't. They just say, no, this doesn't exist. The ones who actually spend time studying, then they will start seeing things that, oh, maybe they study 100 cases, nobody remembers anything. But then the 101 person, no, I was this guy and I died this way, this way, this way. Okay, let's study that. And then we see, oh, yeah, it really was. And then we think, oh, maybe that's a charlatan. All right, study another 1,000,000 people. Keep studying, that's science, unbiased. Don't stop. And guess what? A lot of people have done that. And all the evidences, the facts is, it's not only one life. It doesn't matter where you look, or how you look, or how, if you really study it, you'll see that the evidence proves otherwise. But we still behave like that. So, funny story. I'm a book guy, right? Numbers, and so I'm afraid of people. That's true. And I was always that guy that my parents would have, hey, come say hello to your cousins and get out of your bedroom. My grandma actually still does that to this day. Yeah, to me. She's like 100 years old, but literally, she's 99. And she still does that to me. Because I'm the guy who just stays in a corner reading books. But even though I like people, but I don't know why. It's just, it's hard for me. Then after like 45, I was diagnosed with social anxiety. I have social anxiety. There's a name for everything. In the old days, it's like stop being a sissy. now we have names for everything. Okay, then there's a little pill that they give me for social anxiety. And it's just like a tiny thing for anxiety. And when the doctor gave that to me, he asked me, do you feel that you want to hurt yourself? No. Do you see people that nobody else sees? What do I answer here? Do you hear people that nobody else hears? Okay, I'm gonna lie. Okay, no. Okay then.
Good answer.
But the thing is, what if I had said, well, no, I'm a medium, sometimes I do hear.
Would it be an anxiety?
Exactly, that it will be something completely different. But that is because he's a doctor, right? He participates this blind faith that we live only once. If I see someone that nobody sees, it cannot be a spirit. The spirits don't exist. It's a problem of your brain. It's schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia, thank you. But what if I am a medium and I can prove it to you? So after Chico Xavier, who can question that? Or Divaldo Franco, who can question that? You know that in Brazil, there were cases in court that people were found not guilty from psychograph proofs from Chico Xavier, signatures. It happened 3 or 4 times. But after that, we still live as if we lived one life. You have one life, live it, buy this car. You have one life, live it, do everything you can to gather money. Okay, then what do I do with that money in the end? So this is an example of blind faith, that we don't even know that that's blind faith. That's why faith, it has to be acquired. It's us. Why is it that Joana de Angelis tells us so many times that meditation is important? It's for you to make a little bit of silence, to understand what's going on around you, to understand, for example, what's the impact of prayer in your life, in your mood, in your work. Over time, you get your difficulties and you start praying. And in the beginning, it's very hard. So that you want to pray, but I don't know, it kind of gives me headache. I don't want to stop praying. And then you force yourself, and then you start doing it more and more. And then you observe that you're actually feeling better. That there's something happening. That you're feeling stronger. Another example. To come here and give lectures. No one that comes here from our team of speakers it's a different person. It's a special person. Well, we are all special. It's the same average. We still have our defects or problems. My wife is sitting right there. She can list all my problems, all my defects. So how can we come here and talk about Jesus' lessons? That it's actual faith. Why? First you think, am I doing something that involves selfishness, pride, well, I have to drive 60 kilometers to come here. So if I were selfish, I would stay home and watch Netflix or whatever in my happy place, which is the corner of the couch with my dogs. That's my happy place. So, okay, so no. But what is the purpose of what I'm doing? It's our duty to try to spread as much as we can as dirty mirrors. A dirty mirror still reflects light, but not as much as if the mirror was clean, right? But it still reflects some. But what is the purpose? It is trying to reflect this light that we know it's there, and it helps you so much. So when I come here, the only way I can be here is because I know I'm not alone. I have faith in the mentors of this house to help me transmit the message. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do it. When you guys receive a pass, have you guys ever felt a difference in yourselves during the pass?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that that person in front of you has that is different? It's just the fact that that person wants to do good, wants to help you, allows God's love to pass through the person into you. And the fact that you believe that you can receive help allows you to absorb that help and make that circulate in your body to bring balance. So it's all based on faith. Faith when you believe in yourself and you believe that if what you want to do is good, you're going to receive help. You're not going to be by yourself. But that comes, this type of faith, as the Spirit say, it's acquired. You have to continue working on it. You study, you learn more, and then that builds up your confidence. Another story. Spiritism is based on practice, so that I always think about it when I'm living my normal life. I work with research and development, so it's things that I've never done before, things that are hard, and sometimes I have a team member that it crumbles down on pressure. So I had this week I had a girl that came, a very competent engineer, came to my office, and she was giving me an update on batteries or whatever. And then I asked her, "How are you?" And she started crying immediately. But tears and tears and tears, and then I thought, we all wear glasses. I'm gonna have to buy you wipers. And the problem was, it's very simple. He said one technology that she's working on that it doesn't work. She keeps trying for 6 months and it doesn't work. And I told her, you will make it work. You will make it work. Just relax. Why? Because I've been doing it for 30 years. It works in the end. We figure it out. We're not doing anything to damage or to detriment anybody. We are doing something because we believe we can give a tiny contribution to climate change. So we are doing, of course, for the company, but because we believe in what we do. So I'm sure that we'll do it. This is acquired faith. Acquired faith. I have everything in my mind. I can see it. And I know that she'll be able to do it. So that made her feel better and continue. So that is acquired faith. And that's why that the faith cannot be prescribed. We have to continue developing that faith. When we open Chico Xavier's books, and we read things there that about colonies and life in the spiritual world. It was this. Oh my God, this is. I have no doubt. I have no doubt that this is true. First, because it makes sense. It's not just that book. It's a combination of all the concepts and everything attached to something else. And the overall doctrine makes a lot of sense. It talks to my reason. But that's not just that. We remember when we were there. And we bring a little bit of that with us. Does that mean that one day we're all going to have the same faith? We're all going to be Spiritists? In the books from Manuel Filomeno de Miranda, the 3 books from the Planetary Transition series, we see that the group that works with Manuel Filomeno de Miranda, so where he is a team member, there is an Anglican person, there is a Catholic, a Muslim, there is a doctor, actually a medical doctor, a nurse. So it's a completely different faith, different types of faith. They all work together. There's no disputes because they're all in the spiritual world. They're looking the same reality. There's no way that they would not agree on what is happening right in front of them. But that doesn't mean that they have to express that faith in the same way, because we are different people. The same thing when we read in the Law of Society in the Spiritist book, when Kardec asks, okay, so then in the end, our society will develop equally, and we're all going to be one big society. The Spirit said, no. We're still going to be different societies because we are different spirits. It's not that easy to understand. Okay, we're going to develop and find and reach the same evolution level. Why aren't we going to be the same? Because we're still individuals. We're still spirits. Some of us may like to dress in a different way when they go to pray. They like to take a different position. That's why we have to respect. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is you acquire that faith using your intelligence and using your heart. So when you see yourself, when you see that despair is coming, you remember Jesus' teachings. Remember the mustard seed. Remember to concentrate and develop your faith and trust in God. You're going to go through it. You're going to go through it. See the small things that happen around you. The love of your friends. The love of your family. Or, if you are alone, the love that surrounds you when you make a prayer. That warmth that you feel, that strength, that energy that gives it to you. It's an exercise. You have to keep going, to keep doing it, because you need to train yourself to actually perceive the nuances inside yourself, the differences in your mood, the help that is really happening to you. So this is acquired faith. So when you see that despair is coming, remember this, trust, and learn that if you move the mountains out of the way, you see a clear path in front of you. But that, again, you have to follow the divine laws. Law of progress, and law of work. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Rafael. Now we open, when I came here, it was just a few people. Now we open for questions or comments from anyone.
I would like to say something.
Yeah.
Good.
Can I go ahead?
No, you can.
Okay, that's from there. Okay. My name is Tony. I'm 45 years old. And I just started coming here 2 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, right? Because I found interest in the message because my faith, my spirituality have been very shaky. Right? I was kind of feeling weak on that side. And I was looking to find strength again, right? And looking, asking people, trying to get advice. I end up searching and found this center here, right? And I received a lot of help here. Spiritual, I start to understand some things and my mind got clear. What moved me through to find this point was a challenge that I had. Right? I had a challenge coming in that was not more than a competition. That could be just simple. I had many of them when I was younger, like 25 years ago, right? And for some reason, for this one, I was not feeling. I said, okay, yeah, I'm not the same guy anymore. I should not have signed for that. But now that I signed, I have to prove something, like not for people, but for myself, right? And through this, for this, just that I came from a background of a Catholic after that I was Baptist. For just 4 or 5 of these meetings that I came here, I learned a lot in a way that I could apply that knowledge, right? And turns out that in my competition, a Pan American tournament in the martial arts field, like I'm a Kung Fu teacher, I was able at this age, training only 1.5 months, go in 5 categories and step on the podium in all 5, right? And I got 2 golds and 3 silvers for Canada. But it's not about that I'm happy, right? Because for me, for the people who know me in that area, I don't have to prove anything. It's about what the message was saying now. It's the faith, right? Every day or every other day, I lock myself in a room alone, no coach, no team, and I try to remember some teachings of my master. Look at the speaker on the wall there, and having faith. I say, okay, I can do that if I do this, like that, and it's about the faith. So I found very moving this the message because it's the moment that I am now, right? When I was coming here today, my girlfriend was asking, say, "Oh, you go there again? I thought you were going there just because you wanted to focus for your tournament. The tournament is gone." And I was saying, the tournament is gone, but my spirit is still here. I still have to work on it, right? And my work is still on. So I find I have to keep doing that. That is just starting. That's just to prove that I found that the right path, right? So I just want to share that and
Thank you.
to compliment that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony. It's very fulfilling to hear and to follow you through this. I think it's been 2 months, believe it or not. So it's very nice to hear your path and yeah, you approve of that faith. And you just, sometimes we sleep and we forgot to feed our spirits. So when I come here to the TSS, I want to feed my spirit. When I read a book, when I learn something new, I want to feed my mind. When I'm with my family and I exchange with my friends here, I feed my emotional life. And when I eat, I feed my material life. So it's very fulfilling to hear and to see your path, and congratulations. Not only for your accomplishment, but also for still being here and following your soul, what your soul needs.
Yeah.
We all have our challenges that are there to kind of wake up, to make us wake up and try to develop our faith, to try to find, to tell us something. The path that you're following is not enough. It's not for you. You need more. And right now, so
Spiritism is about application. That's how we prove it. We apply it in our lives. So right now, we have a problem, challenge, which is maintaining those doors open.
Yeah.
So that's a financial problem. Like that example that I was talking about, the $1 million. But the thing is, we can't wish for $1 million to pay TSS for several years. But that's not the goal. What is the goal? Is to be here so that this house can provide consolation. That is the main goal, and this is going to continue because it's not just our work. It's a divine work. It's following the laws of God, the divine laws. So this is going to continue. We'll find a way, whatever way it is. Which way will be, we don't know. We have a limited view, but we will find a way. So that is how we avoid desperation. It's faith. And the work that we're doing is bigger than us. And we'll continue.
If it's going to be only us, right?
Yeah.
Chico Xavier was only him. And one day he said to Emmanuel, okay, Emmanuel, I'm going to close the door because I've been here for 3 or 4 months, I don't remember, but nobody's coming. And then Emmanuel gave him the ability to see how the house was filled of spirits. The incarnated spirits will come, he said to him. But while they not come, you're learning and you're feeding all the souls that are here. So he could see the house was so filled of spirits that were there to hear him. So I think Joe has a question.
Yeah, back to the mustard seed. I love that parable. It's very
Can you
interesting.
speak louder?
And there's actually 2 ways to look into this parable. One is the one you described, that it's from our point of view, that we need a tiny little bit of faith, right? The other point of view is from the mustard seed. So imagine a cartoon of a bunch of mustard seed little kids talking to each other, and one of them says, when I grow up, I'm going to be that tree. And the other kids, are you kidding? Look at the size of that tree. Look at your size. You will never be that tree. But that one seed had faith that he will grow up and he will become that big tree. And that's the sense as well, that we have the faith of where we're going and what we can be in the future. Even if folks tell you it's impossible, it's never going to happen. If this mustard seed can become that big tree, we can become many wonderful. I'm not saying we can become anything, but we can become much more than certainly other people expect, and often what we expect as well.
I just also want to mention Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce, for people who don't know or never heard about him, he was a medium, but he was called the sleeping prophet. He was born in 1877 in Kentucky. In all his prophecies, he would put himself in a trance. It's like he was sleeping, and a voice, they call it the voice of his higher self, but I'm sure it was the voice of the spirit that would come through him, would tell them what they need. If it was a surgery that wasn't even existed at the time, he would tell how this was going to be. And he made a lot of prophecies that not only happened already, but ahead of his time. So if you wanna Google him, Edgar Cayce. He is an American. He was born in 1877 and he died in 1945 in Virginia. So he had a long life. And it's not only the Brazilian mediums, we also have American mediums. We have British mediums, that was wonderful. We have the book here from the British medium. So it's when the mediumship came, when this new message came, not only came in Brazil, it came in Europe, in many places, in Russia. We have great Russian mediums. It came in the States, it came in England, in London. But we tend to talk about the Brazilian mediums, first of all, because Brazilians heard them and had faith in them, and we acknowledge them. And a lot of those people who is in the mainstream who do not wanted to say that they wanted to believe in that because they would, what are they going to think about me if I say that I believe in this prophet, right? So that's why we needed them to understand that this is something that is true. Maybe not for everybody, but it's true when you start reading and you say to yourself, there's something here that connects to my spirit, it connects to my soul. And I understand that. So for me, the first time I read the book, the Spirit's book, I said to myself, oh my goodness, I know that. I know that. How do I know? How do I know that if that was the first time that I was reading? So it was something bigger than and I said, okay, either I am crazy or I need to know more about that because I want to understand myself and I want to understand what this means. So this is the faith that brought me into Spiritism. Of course, the consolation, because they say that you come to spirits by two reasons, through love or through pain. So I came through pain. After my father passed away, I could not understand that, and my mom was very Catholic, my father was Jewish, and I was like, oh my goodness, I can't understand that, not through his faith or through my mom's faith. And Spiritism taught me that he was still here, he was still alive, his body was gone. So each and every one of you has your own reasons to be here and has your own reasons to stay here and keep coming. Oh, any more questions or comments? You want to say something? No? Okay. Okay, nothing from the internet? Okay, well, thank you so very much. Thank you for the ones that follow us through the internet. And now we are going to have our final prayer.
Passes.
So who is going to do the final prayer?
Passes first.
Oh, the passes first. Okay. So for those who are following us through the internet, thank you for coming today and logging into us. And God bless you all. Thank you.